All right, guys, we're back. So obviously it's an old used truck. It's got 267,000 miles on it when I got it. Noticed there was an issue with the camber and the tires are getting eat up pretty good. With that, I was like, hey, I need to go get an alignment. We need to take a look at it. But let me show you guys what we found. Or at least I'm gonna try to show you. All right, let's take a look now. Well, if I can get her in here where I can show you. So these ball joints are cooked. Lower ball joints, upper ball joints, and even our idler arm. Let's see if I can get in here and show you that as well. This guy was moving side to side the other day. Of course, it's not gonna let me show you. But she was moving pretty good. So, given how many miles are on this truck, we are gonna go ahead and just swap all this out. It's not a real expensive job. Of course, unless you're paying someone else to do it, and then it gets really, really expensive. So, we're not trying to do that. So, what we're gonna do today, we're gonna go ahead and get started. We got a couple specialty tools, some things we gotta do. Should be fairly straightforward. We also have a CV boot ripped on the other side. I am still waiting on the tools for that. We're gonna do that later. Won't be today, but we will get to that. There's a couple of tools I want to try. I want to show you guys stuff like that. So, but for now, we're gonna get started on this. Here we go. That would have helped turn her up. I don't want this to come down, so it should not interfere with anything there. And keep pressure on that lower. Now, it should also keep pressure on the lower control arm. We're not changing the lower control arm. So we're gonna change the lower ball joint right here and the upper, which is a complete replacement. Now, these have already been replaced once because they have a grease fitting. From the factory, these don't come with a grease fitting. So they've been changed. The shocks are Rancho shocks, which could be a factory part. The FX4s came with those. At least most of the ones that I saw did. So, it's possible. Looks like this sway bar end link, it's not original, but it hasn't been changed. The other side has new bushings, new poly bushings on it. They're blue. let's see what we can do. I think we'll be okay. Just kind of swinging everything out of the way to a degree. I do have some tools, ball joint press, little hand one, all that kind of stuff. So we will we'll get that done. It doesn't look like, yeah, I don't see any. Hey, it worked. I mean, it may not have been the right way, but it worked. Oh, we'll grab a socket later. And we will make sure it goes on right. But for now, we're going to get it off this way. So we can go ahead and get started on putting everything back together. Now, is that the right way to do it? No, absolutely not. Did it work in a pinch? Because you can't go to the store because the truck's already coming apart. Yeah, it worked. So that'll work. Now the fun part. See if these will break. Oh, you know what? I do have to take that loose. I was trying not to, but I forgot. I believe I do have to take the CV axle out to get in there to get the. Otherwise, it won't clear coming off the ball joint, coming off of the spindle coming off the ball joint. I forgot. It's been a while. It's been over a year since I did one of these. And I forgot about that. So, I'll straighten out this cotter key. Well, that's the plan anyway. Doesn't really, it's too long. There we go. Alright. That one. Little cap and let's suck it loose. We still need that one. probably needed to, but unexpected. A little bit unexpected. Hold on to that guy for that side, that side, that side. There. There's a washer on that one. A washer on that side. Well, that's interesting. Well, I think that's quite how that was supposed to go. Maybe it is. Well, I guess it is. Alright, there's that one. That one. Now it's just a matter of just letting the sucker out of there. Grease everywhere from this ball joint. Jesus. I can't believe this. This is nuts. Absolutely nuts. There that one is. Grease on every freaking part. Oh yeah, that boot is blown. That explains the grease everywhere. Goodness. Look, hold on. Wait a minute. This is the part I hadn't cleaned off yet. That is nuts. It's the sheer amount of grease on this thing. Yeah, that shouldn't be like that. There we go. Well, didn't move back far enough. What? Come here. I need showers first.
Okay.
I wouldn't put those on yet. It's nowhere near time. You have a phone. The thing isn't until 2. Stop again. It's not even tight. It's hitting. Was dumb. What is that hung on? Oh, okay. Are you serious right now? I have never had ball joints not want to just come out. I've never in my life had them that just didn't want to do it. I've always just pop right loose. Most of the time I don't have to use a pickle fork, which is or ball joint separator, same thing. Because most of the time I reuse the ball joints because I'm doing a suspension or something like that. Just tap on it a few times and boop, pops loose. Real easy. Even last one I did was super easy. I don't know what, and I was replacing ball joints. Now the stupid pickle fork's wedged in there. I can't get it out until I break the ball joint loose, I guess. I don't know. This is really freaking weird. So, I think next up is we're going to do some other stuff. We are going to Probably go ahead and pull this caliper and zip tie it up out of the way, and the rotor and such, and the dust shield, just so I can get in there and see a little more. I think that's going to be the best bet on some of that stuff. Those should be 18s. Yeah, 18s. Get these loose real quick, and this is wild. Man. And of course, these are going to be wrenched on there too. Jesus, I don't know if this thing's ever been serviced. I was thinking it had, but it's been a while, that's for sure. Let's see if maybe by some miracle this thing will break it loose. I don't think it will, but I mean, it's worth a shot, eh? Everything's in a bad spot. All right. Okay, I guess. That one. Alright. Now she'll break loose. Maybe I just needed to see it a little better. Oh, is that loose? It just came loose. When I pulled on it, when it shifted, the freaking lower one came loose. Okay. That's some of that stuff right there. I was wondering why it shifted so hard and didn't come completely loose, because I put the nut back on. That keeps it from hurting you when it comes loose and you don't realize it. Enough. Get it to clear. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Forgot about the sensor. Forgot about the sensor. Oh, well, it may just have to sit there. It's just a sensor. Pop it loose. Ah, there we go. Ooh. There we has got some melty stuff going on. That's not cool. Alright, we may have to change that out. I don't know yet. We'll see. For now, got that part up, out of the way. Now we can put something on there. Do that. Let's. Ta-da. Okay. Now the fun part. Snap ring pliers. You do need a pair of pliers. Real quick, we'll break this. We'll get this little guy out of the way. Alright, let's see if I can move you guys. Gotta show you what's going on. Alright, so we're gonna take this grease fitting out of the way. We gotta take the snap ring loose, and then we'll put our ball joint press on there, a little handheld one, and push this ball joint out, and then push the new one in. Alright, so I'll set you right there. Watching Jared the other day, and he was fussing, having problems with his, from Wrench Every Day, with his snap-on snap ring pliers, having an issue and not being able to get it loose. That one, these are just some cheap Amazon something or another, and that sucker just come right over there. So, don't get me wrong, I have snap-on tools. I love some snap-on tools, but sometimes snap-on isn't always the answer. Obviously, I've never used them in a professional capacity other than just tinkering and toying and stuff. So, but some little cheapo Amazon ones work. I'm not gonna complain. I don't use them enough. If I do break them, they're cheap enough to replace. So it's not that big of a deal. All right, now we got to figure out which size fits what in this sucker. Big old monster clamp here. Let's find a size that fits that, so we can just zip it out of there real quick with the impact. Or I say impact, it's really just a 1/4 inch driver, but you know what? It works really well. Right up until you burn it up, which I did. I did do that. I burned it up. So I got a new one the other day. Yay! Okay. It's gotta be the biggest one, of course. There we go. That'll get her. It's easy when you use the right tools. Alright, now we know. Whoopsies. That's my bad. That sucker was gone. Isn't it rattling? Yeah. So we got a brand new one. And we are gonna slide her up on there. There, so pretty. Alright, we are going to that direction. Installation tool. Now, which one do we need here? Not that one, nope. It's this one. Shoop. They don't want it pushing on that. Okay, but that's not gonna work there. Oh, there it is. There. There. Alright, push that up in there like that. Uh-oh. So, take this grease fitting off, because I put them on when they go out, which is weird. Usually they're not on, but it's going to be in the way of installing it. So, take her off. What I did though is where that grease fitting bottoms out, I looked at it and looked at the markings on the top here so that we can make sure it goes back into the right spot. Because I want to be able to orient the grease fitting the direction I want. Anyway, I want the grease fitting to be oriented so that it's not like turned towards the spindle where you can't get to it or anything like that. So, alright, we're watching this flange here. See if we can make it. Problem. Like that. That's a little goofy. Makes sense. Looks like she's compressed as much as she's going to. Take it off, make sure it's going to clear the snap ring. These to the side. All these again for the other side. Got my brush. Alright, now put our grease fitting back in. Uh-oh, I did it backwards. Oh well. Pointed front or back, it doesn't matter to me. As long as it's not pointed towards a spindle. Got 2 sets of threads, I guess. New cotter pan, everything. Sweet. Generally, they come with that stuff. When you're ordering off of some website where it's the cheapest part, you know, I'm not afraid of, but sometimes you don't get everything you expect. I did order all these off Rock Auto, so I got a heck of a deal. Some with some off-brand name stuff, but you know, that doesn't bother me that much. Especially as much as these are going to be serviced. I tend to try and keep my stuff serviced as much as possible, so it's not that big of a deal. I certainly don't usually let them get this bad. I've never had a ball joint that bad. I've replaced many, but never had one quite that bad. So, all right, mess with these control arms. This one. These ball joints. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I may have bought the wrong control arms. These seem to be serviceable, but I don't see a grease fitting. Oh man. Well, that sucks. Well, ordinarily you buy these and you get ones with a grease fitting in them. I don't know why this one doesn't. I thought those were the ones I ordered. Apparently it's not. But I'm not putting the old ones back on, so we're gonna put this one on. And just when it gets to the end and needs greasing and it's at the end of its service life, we'll just be SOL. I have to replace it again, but these are easy to replace. These are just, you know, a couple of bolts and move on. So, alrighty, let's see if we can get this guy started. All right, now the fun part. We got to put the spindle back on the ball joint before this starts sleeving in, because it won't clear. So here we go. Set the nut right there, head out the way. We'll have to route this again because it obviously got too hot somewhere. Looks like it was pushing on the exhaust manifolds. So, all right. I wonder if it'll let me start this one. Oh, come on now, get on there. All right, let's see if we can get this in there. Yeah, we should be able to get it. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, where did I set that other little nut? Come on, there's a brand new one over here somewhere. Where did she go? Yes. Alright. Now the upper one. Everything in here is loose. Nothing is tight. Oh, it might make it a little easier if it was. Oh. Which I've been through before. Still not sure what that little vent is, but it's in the way. Always in the way. There we go. There we go. All right. Heck yeah. Same size. All right. Cool. All right. Do a little cleanup. Mostly put all my crap out of the way. And then put the wheel on, and we will move on to the other side. Hopefully, won't be as bad. Hopefully those ball joints come loose like they normally do. Wouldn't say like they're supposed to, because really they're not supposed to come off easily, I guess. But like I said, I've never had a problem with one before until these specific ones. So we'll see what that does. I don't know. Throw all these extra parts in here. We don't need no more. All right. We're going to try doing this time before we break everything loose. Let's see. Because of the way it is. Putting that pressure on there will keep this nut from spinning when they're blown. Keep the actual ball joint from spinning. If you look, it's already broken loose. Probably what I should have done on the other side. It's already dropping. So already loose. I'm gonna leave it right there for now, and we're gonna move on to the bottom one. Ugh.